Hello, Ingrid.
Unmute now. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Okay, where are my...
Okay, Adam, can you hear me?
Can't see him.
Hello, Adam. Can you hear me?
Okay, can anybody hear me? I cannot hear anybody. Why?
Yes, I can.
I do not know. Maybe I have the volume turned down.
Aha.
Aha.
I can hear you.
Great.
Okay.
Good, good, good. I'm just going to let everybody talk for a few minutes whilst we get landed. Did any of you have a problem with a password?
Oh,
Hello?
I didn't know there was a password. Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine, Ingrid. Hi.
Ah, yay. Hello.
Hello. So, well, that's good because one person needed a password and I've just been getting these kind of upset texts, but I think we've handled it.
Unmute.
So there you have it. Okay, gang.
I don't hear you.
Joining people. Hello. You're all allowed to talk.
Hello, Adam.
Hello. Until I buzz you out. I'm just going to keep letting people join in here. Hi, Anita. Hi, Eric.
Hi.
Okay. Everybody's getting unmuted. Hey, Ingrid, I keep unmuting you, but it doesn't seem to work.
Oh, yeah. I keep muting myself because I'm making dinner and I don't want everyone to hear banging.
Yeah. I'm going to mute you all in a few minutes, and then I'll open it up at the end for questions and things. So,
perfect.
My intention here is to just talk for about 40 minutes about just updates on what I've been seeing, because I've definitely been treating people with this now, and and I'm realizing also that I've been treating people with this for a while. So
interesting.
At this point, I'm going to mute you all. And,
are you recording?
Yeah, it's automatically recorded, and you can get the webinar afterwards.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah, so let me just figure out how to mute you all. I bet there's a simple way. I just don't know what it is.
You go where the dots are, the participants.
Yeah.
And then you as a host, you say all.
You think I've got to, you think I have to mute everybody individually, or can I just do this?
No, just mute all.
I don't see a mute all option.
You go with the microphone to the bottom left corner.
Thank you.
And then you control as a host can say, choose the selection mute all.
No, that just mutes me, and then the selection is not giving me that option at all. No, it's not. I'll just mute you all individually because it's just not giving me that option in the system that I'm running here. Okay, so I'm just gonna mute everybody and then I'll just start talking about stuff. You're all muting anyway, which is great. Yeah, if you could all just mute yourself, that'll help. All right, good, I think that's it. Great, okay. So, hello, welcome to pandemic pastimes. Yeah, it's been interesting. I think first of all, I just want to talk about the spiritual opportunity, because I think that's actually the big thing here. I think the big thing is that by grounding us all from our normal kind of range of activity and landing people in their homes and sort of upsetting the apple cart of the sort of furious hypermobility that is expressed around the whole planet, but also quite intensely in the Bay Area. It's bringing up stuff for people. And I think that's actually what this is on some level. You know, the virus is just a story. It's not that bad. in the history of human epidemics, this is like pretty gentle. But the opportunity that it's generating to examine one's own process and to release, emotions, and it's kind of like shaking up the bottle and then taking the cork off, and now everyone's stuff's coming up, which is great, because I think that the only way we're going to move forward as a species, as a species, one species on one planet, is if a lot of shit hits the fan, and then, but at the same time, there's enough space that most of us can kind of start to work through it and integrate it. So it seems perfect. It seems, from that point of view, it's somewhat compassionate. Like if I was a god, designing how to press people's buttons in a way that would bring up their stuff, but not completely blow their stack, this would be a pretty good way. It's like, oh, you're going to stay home for 2 months. It's quite good. So I think there's an incredible spiritual opportunity, and that's beautiful. It's a bit intense. What I'm noticing is that that the 5 stages of grieving. I think the first one is denial, and then the second one is anger, and then comes depression, and then bargaining, or vice versa, bargaining, depression. I can't remember, and then sort of acceptance. So I think what I've noticed for myself is I hit the anger phase. And that's one of my kind of things. That was a pretty useful place to kind of explore and hang out with. And I know for other people, it's not. Other people, it might be feelings of loneliness or feelings of anxiety or fear. But I think all of this emotional intensity that is starting to come up for people is great. It's very good for them. And what an opportunity to actually return to one's home, right? To the actual spiritual source of what we're doing and who we are and what we're up to in our incarnation at this exciting time in history. So that's kind of one part of it. The virus itself, I believe, has been kind of moving through the Bay Area since the beginning of the year. Possibly even back in late December, but certainly since the beginning of the year. I suspected this for a long time because I've been seeing a pattern with my patients of kind of a flu-like experience, where this flu-like experience really got stuck inside them a little bit more intensely, like it's sort of a bad flu experience. And so I supported quite a few people through that back in like December, January, February, before coronavirus was on the radar. I suspect they had it. I suspect that I had it because there's certain features of this virus when it kicks in. Firstly, it's very, very contagious. It has a 60% contagiousness rate in a community compared to a normal flu virus, which is 8% contagious. So that's, interesting, and that's what I noticed in my own family. It was like first one family member got it, 3 days later the next one, 3 days later the next one. This was back in like the beginning of January. And one person demonstrated the digestive symptoms, and another person demonstrated the acute sore throat symptoms and sinusy, and another person had like the cough, and it was like, oh, this is what this virus is doing. Basically, the coronavirus comes in and it has to colonize somewhere. And so it seems to try to colonize the sinus cavities, like most flu viruses actually, the throat, and also it seems to have a specificity for some people for the digestive tract. And so that's interesting just to see that. Now, I'm not alone in that intuition. In fact, a lot of epidemiologists now are saying, hey, you know what? We think this went through the Bay Area back in January, which is why the intensity in Santa Clara, certainly in Santa Clara back in January, and that's why they think the intensity of its spread in Santa Clara is actually reduced, because a lot of people already had it, either symptomatically or asymptomatically, and now have resistance to it. So that's kind of good news, and that's interesting. So the nature of this virus, according to the Chinese medical analysis, the traditional Chinese medical analysis, is this is a cold, damp pathogen. And in Chinese medical thinking, diseases can originate from sort of warm damp or cold damp, or from a kind of more of a wind cold or wind heat or wind damp kind of quality. And this virus definitely is associated with a kind of coldness, and its epidemic arising often seems to be preceded by cold, damp weather, which is why when we had those storms a few weeks ago, I was like, now it's going to really hit, right? And now we've had more storms again, so I guess it's just going to keep on doing its thing. Now, the upside of that is twofold. One upside of that is that this virus, although it's extremely contagious, is actually quite delicate. It's quite easily taken out. So anything that heats the body can be potentially quite useful to drive out the virus. Now, in the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic, so-called, because it didn't really come from Spain, in that epidemic, they found that applying heat directly to the spine was very, very useful in helping to reduce the effects of the flu when people had it. And I suspect that here, the way to take advantage of that is hot baths and saunas and things like that to keep yourself, really, at least at the end of the day, just kind of whack the surface, or a really hot shower, and your hair too. This virus is very contagious. That means it lives on everything. But it's still going to take a few days to get in and generate a colony inside your body. So on that note, where does it like to colonize? Well, it likes to colonize the sinus cavities. And so doing things that keep your sinus cavities clear is probably a very useful strategy. So using a neti pot. The only time I would say not to use a neti pot is if you're already sick. Then using a neti pot can just increase the inflammation in your sinuses because they're already swelling up from illness. But if you're not, then it's time to start playing around with the idea of a neti pot and doing inhalations. I think maybe even better than a neti pot is you do inhalations of essential oils. So you fill a bowl with hot water, put a towel over your head, put essential oils on the surface of the boiling water. It should be freshly boiled water. Put essential oils on the surface, towel over your head and over the bowl, and then inhale. Do that at least once a day. Eucalyptus, tea tree, and especially oregano essential oils. And actually, if you can get it, red thyme essential oil, very effective. And then you want to think about the throat. And so gargling with salt water. You can even use oil of oregano if you're careful. You take 1 drop of oil of oregano and you put it in a glass of water, and you agitate the glass of water strongly until that drop breaks up. You have to break up that drop, because if that whole drop hits the epithelial lining of your throat, it's going to burn, it's going to damage the epithelial lining a little bit. But if you stir it up, if you break up that drop through agitation and drink some of that and gargle it and then swallow some of it down, you're going to get a nice dose of oil of oregano. Oil of oregano, I don't think is on my list of things to get to really knock this out, but it probably should be, because oil of oregano is amazing that way, and you can definitely get oil of oregano capsules too. Now, in terms of protecting the sinuses and the throat, so that when you're exposed to the virus, which presumably you either have been or are or will be soon, it doesn't colonize, you need to be thinking about making sure that your foods are very low in mucus-producing contents. And the reason you want to do that is that anytime you eat anything that produces thicker, stickier mucus, you give the virus the perfect ecosystem for it to kind of land and start to colonize and start to proliferate. So cutting out dairy, cutting out wheat, and cutting out sugar is the way to go. Yeah. Now, this kind of runs counter to what's happening for a lot of people, that they're home and they want comfort food, and they're kind of freaking out, and they're surrounded by their relatives, and that can be challenging, of course. And so there's a tendency to go for the comfort food. So try to overcome that impulse and don't eat foods that generate a lot of mucus in the body. In general, it was noticed back in the 1918 flu epidemic that people who ate a lot of red meat had a harder time if the fever hit. And that's just a rule of thumb. you know, kind of dial back on eating too much red meat or any red meat according to your inclination. And pork is probably the worst. Red meats tend to just increase the sort of toxic load that doesn't work well if you get a fever. What works well if you get a fever is fasting. It's juice fasting, water fasting. That works great with a fever. And so that's just maybe something to think about. So let's see what else here. Just gonna, oh, more people have joined, that's great. So what I found when I was posting stuff on Facebook was that Facebook had blocked a lot of people from seeing my posts because I was using the words, you know, like herbs and supplements and prevention and treatment along with the word coronavirus. And they've set up algorithms to block that. And I'm sure there's an argument that they want to block that because there's people out there perhaps telling you to do things that are not going to work or are not safe, but it actually effectively also blocks a lot of other people like myself from actually talking about effective and proven holistic treatments for this. And it also serves an economic agenda, because if the only recourse you have if you get this is the hospital and drugs, and if the only thing that's going to save us all is a drug and a vaccine, that actually feeds well into the profit motive for modern Western medicine and the pharmaceutical industry. And so I think those two are sort of playing off each other. And so Twitter and Google and all these guys are all running these algorithms, YouTube now, to block useful information. So here's what I do know from talking to colleagues and from digging around, because I, you know, looking for information in the ways that I know to find it. There have been very, very successful treatments applied in hospitals using IV ozone. Now, any naturopath, chiropractor, osteopath will, you know, probably be familiar with, well, not all the chiropractors, but the osteopaths and naturopaths are often quite familiar with IV ozone and have used it for decades. And IV ozone is often very effective in infections. It's extremely effective. There are other methods of getting oxygen into the body using hydrogen peroxide, using other substances, which I'm not even going to talk about on this video because that's how much trouble it could get me into. But oxygenation that way is very helpful. I think in Korea, a doctor used IV vitamin C with zinc sulfate. So I go back to my basics for prevention and then also in the first stages of treatment. Zinc, keep your zinc levels up, vitamin D, vitamin C, good doses of vitamin C, and then if you come down with it, high doses of vitamin C. And IV vitamin C is also great. So if you are connected with a local naturopath or osteopath who does that, wonderful. If you're not and you'd like a referral, I can give you referrals. I can give you referrals to osteopaths and naturopaths who will test you to see if you have COVID and also put you on all these wonderful treatments. So that's definitely an option too. This doctor in Korea, I think it was Korea, pretty much cleaned out the hospital of cases using IV vitamin C, IV zinc sulfate. I think there might have been something else. I can't remember if he used ozone too, but there have been a number of doctors around the world doing this now. What you're not seeing is this on the front cover of Time magazine. Yeah. Now in China, they had, of course, a pretty high death rate, whatever it was in Wuhan, 3%, 4%, from hospitalizations to death. But in the other provinces outside of Wuhan, when this thing had already run its course for a month and the Chinese medical doctors had really dialed in what to use, their death rate, as reported, is 0.3%. I suspect it might be closer to 1% because there's been some underreporting. But nonetheless, it's way lower than Italy at 8%, right? From hospitalizations to death. That's a way lower percentage. I reported, I think, a couple of weeks ago that 85% of all the patients in hospitals in China are receiving full Chinese herbal medicine as prescribed, you know, generally pretty carefully by a Chinese medical doctor based on their specific presentation. I just heard it was 91.5% at this point. You are not reading that on the front cover of the Mercury News. And it's a stunning disparity between the number of deaths after hospitalization and the fact that these people are all receiving Chinese herbs. It's very interesting. So on the subject of Chinese herbs, let me just swivel this around. There on my table is all my Chinese herbs that I've been dispensing. Now, the nice thing about this virus is it seems to be, this is pretty consistent, it seems to be biphasic, which is a good thing. It's not like Ebola, where it's just like, boom, you're down. And of course, there's going to be exceptions. Every now and then there's going to be somebody who comes along and it's just whatever their genetics or their makeup or so on, it's going to like act really quickly. But really the vast majority of even serious cases, that's not the case. What happens is it's a biphasic presentation, and the initial phase is this damp cold thing. The fever is not very high, or there's no fever. The person may feel chilled, or they may have muscle aches. They may have a headache. They don't really want to be touched. They feel like something's off. They feel like there's something just slightly out of balance in their health. They may have digestive problems. The nausea is quite common with this. Or they may have a sore throat. But it's not that serious yet because it's not a super high fever. This is the virus battling your immune system, your Wei Qi, your defensive Qi, as we call it in Chinese medicine. And the symptoms you're going through are the sort of the expressions of that battle. That phase generally is going to last for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, or even longer. And then, you know, if your immune system overcomes it, then it fades out and you're good. It's just like, you couldn't really tell the difference between that and the flu, right? Or even a cold. What happens once this virus has established sufficient enough of a colony is then it, you know, penetrates into the lungs, and then it flips over from a damp cold to an internal heat pathogen. And this is something we're very, very familiar with in Chinese herbal medicine. Chinese herbal medicine has tracked 137 epidemics in the history of China. And so, you know, this is a very described mechanism. When it flips into that lung heat phenomenon is when potentially you get a danger. Now, most people, it'll go into that, they'll start coughing, and they're coughing, and it's kind of a dry cough because it's not that productive because there's so much heat going on. It's really flipped from damp to heat. But some people, it'll continue as more of a damp cough with more of a productive cough. When it is productive, it's generally in the initial stages going to be yellow. And as they're getting better, it'll often turn to white because it'll go back to that kind of colder stage. So in that initial phase is when you want to hit it with all of the herbs and supplements and, you know, measures to alkalinize your body, like the baking soda that I talked about in my email, oxygen therapies, and you know, saunas and you know, sweating it out and taking all those good herbs and supplements and the Chinese herbs. And that will, what they found in China, and I've listened to talks by top Chinese medicine doctors, guys that are overseeing entire provinces, all the different Chinese medicine hospitals and centers and clinics in entire provinces. They're saying, yeah, when we get people in that phase, it's great because then they're not going to end up in hospital, right? The vast majority, it's not going to go there. You steered it off, as it should be. Now, there are some people for whom that penetration of the lungs is going to happen faster and is going to happen more intensely. And they're going to end up like Boris Johnson, our beloved premier from my home country, you know, ending up in an ICU. So what's going on with people when it goes to that? Well, this is interesting. One observation by a wonderful Chinese herbal expert, Sharon Weizenbaum, really matched my own sort of understanding and clinical experience. What she is noticing, and what I've been noticing too, is that people for whom it gets stuck in the chest so severely, and they get the shortness of breath, and the shortness of breath is the key that is deeper in there, they normally have some energetic blockage in the area of their chest. Now, why do more men than women die from this virus or get it more severely? Well, the reality is far more elderly men have an energetic blockage in their chest than any other, group of human beings. The reason for that is twofold. Firstly, as people age, they develop what we call in Chinese medicine deficiency below and excess above. And that means as somebody ages, their kidney qi, the qi of their belly and their waist and their hips and legs weakens. And the chest starts to expand. They get that chronic obstructive pulmonary disease type of condition, emphysema. The neck becomes red and swollen. You know at this point they probably have atherosclerosis, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and the face gets red. And this is a very typical presentation for an elderly man in a developed country. So in that presentation, the qi is not moving effectively through the chest. And so then we have to switch to herbs that really open up the qi movement through the chest so that it can vent downwards and clear that toxic heat down and out. There's another reason for that blockage there, and that has to do with unprocessed grief and sadness and remorse. And the lungs are the organ that sort of holds our relationship to what is righteous, what is our knowing of the truth, our intuition of the truth, our ability to connect into the truth. And if we have lived in our life in a way that we have not adhered to that, it's actually healthy and normal for a type of remorse to arise, which then leads to a course correction. What often happens is that that remorse itself is a kind of suppressed experience. And a type of grief around not living to one's honestly true, place of functioning grips the soul. And then the chest gets shut down. Now the chest can also be shut down from unprocessed grief, unfelt grief. And men are more prone to that than women. Men are much more prone to stuff it in and to, military bearing and stiff up a lip or chin, whatever that is. So I suspect that that's most of why you see more men dying of this than women. Also, of course, was there an of course there? I forgot my train of thought. Yeah, those two things. Well, then there's a higher instances of heart disease in men that age than in women. And what they're noticing in Italy, for example, is that I think 50% of everybody who dies from this, they had 3 pre-existing health conditions. And 95% of them had at least 1 serious pre-existing health condition. There's another aspect of that, which is that the ACE inhibitors, which are drugs used in high blood pressure treatment and in diabetic treatment, seem to increase ACE receptors, which is something the virus likes to attach to. That may be increasing people's risk. Yeah, so I've been seeing definitely more corona cases in my practice for sure. And realizing also that a number of people I treated in the last few months, definitely, they had all the symptoms of it. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that those people with a lot of chest blockage are more prone to a more serious presentation of this. Okay, I think I'm gonna unmute everybody and just kind of open it up. And because I don't know how to unmute everybody at the same time, because I just cannot find that instruction set up. Go here. And hope that you can all handle being without a lot of crazy noise. And I'm just going to open it up for any questions or any comments if anybody has them. Hello, people. Anybody got anything they want to ask or? So far, it's not a discussion, it's a monologue, but it's a discussion.
I have a question, Adam.
Good. Who am I talking to?
Mary Cummings.
Hello, Mary.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, well, I missed your first webinar about this, so maybe you already talked about this. But my question is, the list of the herbs and supplements to take.
Yeah.
Prevention. is that good for us to be taking now or wait
Yeah.
till there's symptoms?
No. Prevention, which by the way, I resent out that email today to give you guys the link to this webinar, and I took the words prevention and treatment out. Apparently, I should not have those words in there. I got reprimanded by people from my own profession. They're like, don't use those words. Even though that's what I mean. So, no, prevention means you would like to prevent getting it. That means take the stuff now.
Alexa,
Say again? You disappeared on me. I don't know where you went. You're all muted.
Sorry.
What is that?
Yep.
Go ahead. Unmute yourself if you want to. I think you all have permission to unmute yourself if you have questions. Mary, did you want to ask more?
So the list of all the things that you have there, to take all of them or to choose some of them, or I was a little confused.
Good question. Seems like a big list, huh?
Yeah.
Here's what I'd say I think is really quite sensible and important. Vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, quercetin, and acetylcysteine. Those 6. Is that 6? I think it's 6. Yeah? The vitamins, the zinc, quercetin, the N-acetylcysteine. Do good doses of those. They'll help to prime your immune system. There's so much evidence of that. There's so much data on that, actually. And then the herbs, pick and choose. I would say, but beyond some of them. I think resveratrol is very useful. Most people have a little bit too much liver heat going on. And, resveratrol is very useful for that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Let's have another question from somebody or comment. Anybody else?
Hi, Adam, it's Yuan.
Hello.
Hi. So you said 6. You said vitamin D, vitamin C, NAC, zinc. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I count 4.
Quercetin.
Quercetin.
NAC, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. Maybe I'm forgetting something. It's on my list.
Okay.
Anyone can see my list and remind me if I'm forgetting something. That's just what sort of I think. I mean, there's other things, I mean, of course, once we get into the herbs, there's a lot of other things. And, you have a lot of clinical experience. So if you have other thoughts about it, I'd be very interested.
Raise your vibration.
Right. I do agree with that. Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah.
You just said also vitamin E. That was the 6th.
No, if I said that, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Vitamin E. I think in my list there's vitamin A. Right? And vitamin A has a little bit of controversy in the last 5 or 10 years around some studies showing that it wasn't so good for the lungs. I personally think that vitamin A is really quite helpful for increasing the immune system of your mucous membranes. And so that's why it's in my list. But I've sort of held back a little bit from pushing it quite as hard because I think there's some toxic versions of vitamin A out there.
Adam?
Yeah.
This is Alice. Hi. I have a question. Have you seen any patients that have vertigo as part of the symptoms?
Yeah, twice.
Okay.
I haven't seen that recorded anywhere else. And I'm not, so I haven't like placed that as like, oh, this is definitely a COVID thing, but it's a common flu thing. Vertigo and nausea are very interrelated.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got this.
That's exactly what I've been experiencing the last 2 days.
You want to keep an eye on your temperature. If your temperature is even like a degree up above normal, you may well have it.
It was yesterday. I don't know if it is today.
You're fighting it off. You can connect with me afterwards if you want, and
I will.
Just kind of see where it goes for you.
Okay, thank you.
And having said that, right now I'm pathologizing every cold and every flu that's out there as this. But I don't feel like much opportunity to do anything other than that. And also this is very contagious, so I do think it is sweeping through the population.
I have a question.
Hi, Adam. This is Viviana.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. My question is, what's going to happen when the quarantine is over? we don't have a vaccination.
No, you don't want a vaccination.
I mean, a vaccine. What's
You don't
going
want
to
a
happen?
vaccine, Viviana. Well, I mean, maybe you do eventually, but initially, typically when they first kind of come up with a vaccine for something like this, it's not that effective. I mean, the flu vaccine has been around for about 25 years now, and it's unbelievably ineffective. It has like an 11% effectiveness rate, and that's according to studies that are frankly practically rigged to produce that it does something good. The Cochrane databases, which up until a year ago was the most objective Western medical organization for measuring Western medical realities, not you know, pharmaceutical driven at all until a year ago. They did 2 pretty exhaustive analyses of flu vaccines and said they don't work. Yeah, you know, that's not part of your story in America, because the story at this point is dominated by pharmaceutical interests. The vaccine is not gonna you know, be anything that they can manufacture in less than probably a year at the outside, and maybe 18 months. And frankly, I wouldn't necessarily expect a vaccine to be that helpful. I would doubt it personally. So, you know, vaccines are not going to be it. But you know, here's the thing. There are about 6 or 7 different strains of this moving through the community. Some are more infectious and more intense probably than others. Some of what makes this virus more intense is when you're exposed to a lot of it. That's why you see doctors and nurses, kind of poor things, dropping, and sometimes rather seriously dropping. Because, and there is actual research and Western medical evidence to back this up, that it's not just that you got the virus, it's how frequently and how intensely you were exposed to it. And of course, in hospitals, you're going to be exposed to the worser strains of the virus. So in those
we're going
situations,
to have an immunity.
say again?
We're going to have an immunity. We're going to be
that's what I'm saying. Over time, your system will have developed already an immunity, because many people are getting it and are asymptomatic. You know, for many people, it's just going to blow through and they won't even know. For many others of us, we'll probably have something, but be like, okay, it wasn't so bad. And there will be the development of a group immunity over the course of the next year or 2. But you know, here's the thing. I had a patient who came down with all the symptoms of coronavirus. She went to the hospital, she was tested, they said, you don't have it. She got more sick. She ended up back in the hospital. They're like, wow, this really looks and sounds exactly like coronavirus. They tested her again, still came back negative. Now, the testing for a virus, when they first develop a new test for a new virus, is never very accurate the first year or 2 anyway. So then they x-rayed her lungs and they're like, holy crap, this is coronavirus. But then they tested her again and she had H1N1, which is either, I don't know, swine flu or bird flu, I can't remember. So who knows what she actually had, but the point is this stuff's just gonna flow around, you know? And really what you wanna be thinking about is your own immunity, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Any other questions?
Hey, Adam, it's Lorena.
Hello.
Nice to see you. I also missed your first webinar, but I have a question. Some of the things that you said today left me kind of thinking about you know, the younger generation, like, you know, young kids and stuff. And I'm not sure if you mentioned that in the first one or not, but, you know, my granddaughters around that time that you said you were seeing, you know, flu-like, you know, people with symptoms at an early stage back in January, end of December, so on. The girls had it too. Is it possible that it could come back and hit them harder, or are there things that we could...
Let me put it this way. I doubt it very much. Have you ever noticed that if you get a flu, you don't get another one for a year or 2? For most people, not everybody, of course, but as a rule of thumb, if you get a flu, your immune system's kind of primed against getting another flu. You might get a cold, but it does something, at least for some period of time, to prime your immune system. So I suspect that if they had something back in December, January, they're probably not going to get anything, and they may have had it.
Okay, does that go for adults as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay.
Hi, Adam. This is
Hello.
Deanna. I'm listening with my mom.
Hi.
I was just wondering, from like the perspective of Chinese medicine, why do you think this virus is having, oops, sorry, it's a dog, having such a huge effect and is so contagious? And I heard you say it's like a mix of viruses, but why?
No, it's not a mix of viruses. It's a mix of different subspecies of the same virus.
So why do you think from a Chinese perspective it's having such a huge impact, or the
Well,
media?
you know, there's different ideas about this. One idea is that it's a bioengineered virus. I personally don't have much weight behind that idea. And plus, you know, whether it is or not, I don't know. I think people have a short historical memory for the fact that humanity has gone through hundreds of epidemics, and most of them were much worse than this. So viruses just show up sometimes. I think karmically, the fact that it's, you know, these viruses derive from animal sources and then jump to humans, that's just what viruses do. And if we continue to exploit animals, we'll continue to see more of that than we would like. And viruses are very, very adept at mutating. In fact, the regular flu virus mutates even faster than the coronavirus mutates. So viruses, they're just trying to do their thing, you know? They're just kind of, you know, working in cooperation with the Grim Reaper and the angels and all the forces of life, and they're trying to live, and they like to live inside your lungs and get your body to spill out more copies of them. They're just looking for food sources so that they can have a party and so that they can reproduce. So this virus is contagious because it's contagious. I mean, it's not as contagious as Ebola, it's not as contagious as measles, but it's pretty contagious. Much more contagious than your average flu. And why? That's just because how nature designed it. From a Chinese medicine point of view, in Chinese medicine, we just call these epidemics. We just name them as they are. They're called epidemic contagions. And this is a wind-cold epidemic contagion. This is something that humanity just deals with sometimes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I got 2 minutes.
Adam,
Yeah.
I looked at your notes. It's selenium.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Selenium is a wonderful, thank you so much for doing that. Selenium is a wonderful immune boosting substance. Now, there have been some concerns that if you take like some high dose of selenium when you're coming down with the cytokine storm, that means if, you know, the heat's in your lungs and you're having shortage of breath and you're losing it and you're heading off to the hospital, high doses of selenium, not a good idea. But prevention, yeah, absolutely. Selenium, like zinc, is one of those things that really helps to prime and activate the immune system. Okay. All right, gang. So I'm going to switch over to the Qigong portion of this class. So if you want to do the Qigong with me, you're welcome to. If you don't, it's fine. You can just take off. The Qigong I'm going to do today is a full-on Qigong class. No more pussyfooting around. Okay, we'll do a little gentle stuff. But I'm going to actually go into a normal Qigong class that, as I would normally teach it, with the Juju Yang Shang and the standing Qigong, the moving Qigong, and we'll do some sort of meditating and some process around immunity at the end. So I'm going to mute you all. I think you already muted yourselves, which I kind of appreciate.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you so much. And I'll catch you all on the other side. Yeah. So if you haven't muted yourself, feel free to mute yourself. I think you all have. Thank you. And I'm going to do a quick change routine and then get the Qigong action rolling. Actually, there's going to be a 1-minute intermission because I have to get my earpods set up. I just realizing I didn't do that. So apologies. Bathroom break. Back in 1 to 2 minutes. All right. Hopefully you can all hear me. I hope so. I'm going to unmute somebody and ask if you can hear me. Hey, Mary, can you hear me okay? Maybe she's gone away. Who knows? I hope so. If for some reason you can't hear me, text me on the phone. I'll see that. Okay. So now.
I can hear you.
Great. Thank you, whoever that was.
It was Alex.
All right. Go ahead and mute yourself. But thank you so much for letting me know. I'm going to attempt to see if I can see a larger version of myself. I don't see how to. Sorry, guys. I can barely see myself on the screen. It's doing something different and weird. But I think I can make it work anyway. Okay, let me just set the camera angle here. I think that's good. Yep, that should be all of me. I'm going to keep my phone where I can sort of see it out of the corner of my eye. If there's any problems with this, somebody text me, and I'll just keep a little bit of an eye on that, because at this point, my computer is not quite cooperating with my ability to see what you're seeing, but we'll just go with it. Okay, Qigong. So we're going to start with the Juju Yangchang, excuse me, Juju Yangchang Qigong system. The Juju Yangchang Qigong system is a wonderful system developed by my teacher, Master Jia Shusan, who healed himself from many intense things using this system. So the Juju Yangchang system opens up all your tendons and ligaments and brings energy into the tendon ligament system. So you're going to keep your legs straight and turn your hips. And for many people, this will cause a little bit of pain and discomfort. That's okay. Just go with it. Deep breaths. One of the criticisms I received after my last Qigong posting on Facebook was that people would think that if they did Qigong when they have coronavirus, it will heal them. And that I should not be implying that, because if people do Qigong when they have a fever, they can, of course, make their fever worse. That's true. If you have a high fever, I'm not necessarily going to suggest that you do a lot of Qigong. You know, if you've got a real low sort of, or no fever and you're in the first stages of illness, the Qigong could be very useful. So you notice I reversed my direction. Just letting your body be free as you do this. I'll come forward a little bit here. You want to bring your hands out in front a little bit. Move your body around. Now, when you practice this first exercise, keep your head just looking straight ahead. Don't move your head around. When your hips come forward, your shoulder blades come back and down. And when your hips go back, lift up your sacrum a little bit. And let the shoulder blades and the shoulders go down. So your shoulder blades and your shoulders are doing the opposite of what your hips are doing. When they're going forward, the other's going back. Gradually, what doing this exercise does is it creates a spiraling energy that spirals around the lower part of your hips. It spirals right through the hip joints and right through the sides of the sacrum, the sacroiliac, right across the pubic bone. And over time, this creates a spiraling energy that travels down your legs to your feet. Now let's go a little bit wider. You're going to do the same thing, but now as you transfer the weight, you're going to actually lift up the heel of the empty leg. The empty leg is the leg which is not bearing your weight. Now, the first rule of Qigong is that you get to decide what you're going to do. And this is actually made a little bit easier by doing a Zoom Qigong class, because if you come to a live class and I'm bossing you around and you're watching the other people in the class and you're kind of like, oh my goodness, I got to keep up, I got to do what they're doing. There's a tendency sometimes to override your body and force yourself to do things. And we don't really want to do that in Qigong. We kind of want to go past our layered in limitations, but we also want to be sensitive not to injure ourselves or force anything. So I'm just going to be going through a pretty full-on Qigong class today. And if something is not something that you should or could do, then you're going to need to feel that inside yourself and back off, right? That's your responsibility, ability to respond to that. So now we're standing wider. Now this is a very tricky Qigong to actually learn by watching somebody. I would imagine even trickier watching on Zoom, but many of you attending this class have been in my Qigong classes before, and you'll presumably know how to do this. And see what you can get by watching it. So the arm's going to come in towards the throat level. And as the arm rolls in, the elbow rolls in. Transfer your weight. The feet are parallel to each other. They're not sliding out. They're staying parallel on the inside line. All right, good. And now, keeping your legs straight, we're going to bend over. Keep your spine straight. And let your spine extend forward. And start to rock through your sacroiliac joint. So if you put your hands on your butt, one hand will go up, the other hand will go down. Keep the legs straight. Keep the knees back. And you're just going to keep coming forward from your waist. And then fold your hands and relax your shoulders. Keep swinging and then swing out so that one arm comes out. And now let's relax the hands again. And let's swing all the way. I'm going to mirror you. So you're going to swing and now stretch to your right, keeping your spine straight, pulsing through this movement. And then to the other side. So you're going to just let your hands come down as far as your hands can sensibly go down. Reach down, pulsing. Keep the legs straight. And go back to the other side. Now you're going to turn your torso at about a 30-degree angle from all the way to the side. And you're going to extend your face towards your foot. How far down you go, that's okay, it's up to you, but keep your back straight. Don't bend your back over. Keep it straight. Keep the knee back. Keep the knee pushed all the way back. Keep the legs straight. All right, and the other side. Now your hands are on your feet or down towards your feet on your leg. You're just pulsing down. It's a little bit like you're dipping down as if you're going to pick up an apple with your teeth out of a barrel of water. Good. Now bring your hands forward, but push your butt back. And then just pulse through your upper back. Pulse through it. So you start to let the upper back spine move down. And then roll forward over your hands. Rolling forward. Your weight is now on your fingertips if you can handle it. And if you can't, then put your hand flat. But it's very useful to build up the strength over time so that you can just handle the weight traveling through your fingertips to make your hands nice and strong. Very useful for healers. And going around the other way, you're making circles. You're extending your chest out of your hands, big horizontal circles. Good. Now we're going to extend further out, drop down, and then come down and up. Now, if you're still on your fingertips, that's good. Hopefully you can all see me. I don't know if you can or not, actually. I'll move back a little bit more. Just like a push-up, except you're sliding down, you're on your fingertips or your hands are flat if you can't handle that. You're strengthening your body. All right, good. Now, bring your hands back and you're going to lift up your hands so that your hands are off the ground, but your fingers are on the ground so that you're just pressing through your knuckles. And then rotating, getting your weight out so that you stretch through those joints. And now put the hands flat. You can see my funny Chinese sleeves are in the way. Put your hands flat. Extend out over the hands. Circling. Moving through the wrist joints. Now circle your neck. Transfer your weight from side to side. Circle your chest out over your hands. Reversing the circle. All right, good. And then coming down into Pugu. Okay, so you're going to take the elbow, push the knee back, put the hand on the foot, lift up your torso, reach your hand down your leg as far as it will go, and then pulse. The extended leg is straight. And the other side. Extended leg straight. And the other side again. And the other side. Right, good. Come up into Gongbu. So back leg is straight. And now you're going to pulse from the floor of your pelvis, pushing forward and back simultaneously. Now pick up the back foot, drop the back knee down, and again pulsing forward and back. Good. And now you're going to drop the front knee down, straighten the front leg, and then turn. Turn your body. Turn it towards the back. Pulse through it. Pulsing motion. Other side. Stretch out. So you're pulsing, you're pushing forward and back from the floor of your pelvis and the inner thighs. Forward and back simultaneously. Now pick up the back heel, drop the back knee down, and continue with the pulsing. And then sit straight back. Turn the body towards the back. Keep the front leg straight. Drop that knee down. Drop the back knee down bent. Heel up on the back foot. Good. Okay, good. That's a little Juju Yang Sheng sequence. Just pause for a minute, breathe. Notice how your body feels. You'll probably feel a lot more open. Now we're going to go into another Qigong system. We're going to go into the Yichuan standing Qigong. So standing Qigong is one of the most powerful ways to generate energy and store energy and build qi in the body. The side effect of standing Qigong, if you practice it correctly and you practice it every day, is that ill health just goes away. It just goes away. So I'm going to stand, let's get a little closer, maybe not a little closer, so you can see my legs too, but I'm going to stand to the side and talk you through this a little bit. Your feet should be about shoulder width apart. They should be parallel on the inside line. Inside line should generally be straightforward. And then you sit down and roll your thighs out. Don't sit down so low that your knees go past your toes. And don't stand so that your so that your knees are collapsed in. The knees should not be past the toes, and they should not be collapsed in. They should be right over your feet. Right? When you look down, you should see your knees lining up over your feet. And so you'll have to roll your thighs outwards. And then your sacrum. Just drop your sacrum down. Now, what that will do for most people is it will take this inward curve and it will elongate it and extend it downwards. Very easy and very natural. So just, let's go over those points again. Your feet are going to be shoulder width apart. And what is shoulder width apart? There's some variability there, but you find what feels right for you. Roll your thighs out. Drop your weight down. Bring your weight back towards your heels if necessary. Make sure that your knees are over your feet, not past your toes, not on the inside of your legs or your feet, but right over. Take deep, full breaths. When you breathe, expand your belly. Then expand your belly and then your solar plexus. Then expand your belly, your solar plexus, and the back of your chest. Open up the back of your chest. Deep, natural, full breaths. Your hands are going to be out in front of you. The hands are going to be open like this. The space between your thumb and index finger open. Hands are going to be about at the level of your throat and your face, your chin. The thumbs might line up to the sides of your nose approximately, index finger towards your mouth. Then drop your chin down, but lift up the back of your neck. So when you're standing, you're not going to stand like this. You're going to pull your chin down and pull the back of your neck up. It'll feel like you're generating a double chin a little bit, and that's fine. Just drop your chin down, lift up the back of your neck. So your spine will elongate upwards and elongate downwards, separating the vertebrae from each other, energizing the space where the discs are. The tip of your tongue could be on the roof of your mouth. You want to smile a little bit. Now, the standard amount of time to stand like this is an hour. Let's do it. Just kidding. So what you build up when you do standing Qigong is you build up your endurance. And initially when you start, you might have your body shaking, and that shaking is fine. Just enjoy it. You might feel like your body getting really hot, and that's okay too. Just go with it. Your mind might freak out. You may feel discomfort in your shoulders, and that's okay. Just say yes to the whole thing. Say yes to the experience. Keep sinking and relaxing. Sink your shoulders. Now, if your shoulders get too painful, by all means, just bring your arms down for 30 seconds. Relax them. Let's go into the lower arm position for a minute. The lower arm position is useful if you've got a lot of pain in the shoulders, which happens often initially when you start Qigong standing. Lift your fingers up. Lift your fingers and push the base of your palm down, and then separate your shoulder blades from your spine. Relax your shoulders. Take deep breaths and just feel any tension from your shoulders, your neck, and your upper back draining out through the base of your palms. Now, occasionally, it happens doing standing Qigong, often in the first few times you practice it, that maybe you'll get a little rush of dizziness or something like that. So if you get a rush of dizziness and it's like uncomfortable, make sure that you sit down right away on the floor, on the ground. Just get right on the floor. I don't want any of you passing out. It's really occasional, but it happens occasionally, so just something to be aware of. But if you're relaxing and you're taking deep, full breaths, you'll probably be fine. And you want to smile a little bit. You want to remind yourself that this is fine. This is not really suffering. It's just some sensations. You're opening up the healing energy in your body. Relaxing the anal sphincter. Deep, full breaths. Expanding your belly. Let's bring the hands into a second position. Now the hands are going to be kind of at the level of your forehead, palms facing outwards. Sink your shoulders. Deep, full breaths. Now, as you're breathing, I want you to imagine and feel that you're drawing the chi from the earth. That your breath is connecting down through the floor, through whatever building you're in, down into the earth. And that you can breathe from the earth. Good. Now we're going to bring the hands directly above the top of the head. I'm not sure if you can see my hands in this camera view because I can't quite see what you're seeing because my computer system malfunctioned, I think. But I'm hoping you can see my hands. They're flat. They're facing directly up, so the palms are facing towards the sky. And the fingers are turned in towards each other, right above the head. Now relax your shoulders, but keep your hands up. Take deep, full breaths. Your belly expands on every breath. Relax your pelvic floor. All right. Now let's bring the hands down. Breathing as you bring the hands down. Down to that lower position. The fingers are up. The base of the palm is pressed down. The shoulders are relaxed and dropped. Chin down, back of head up. Tailbone and sacrum sinking down. Fill your body with the breath. Now start to feel yourself breathing from the earth as you breathe in, and also breathing from the sky, from heaven, from what's above you, above the building, up in the sky. When you breathe in, these two sources of chi come in, all the way down into your belly. And when you breathe out, these two sources of chi mix in your belly. Let the belly expand. Good. Now we're going to do a one-legged standing Qigong. So bring your feet together so that they're close, maybe a couple inches apart, not touching, but a few inches apart. I'm going to mirror you. I want you to, hopefully you can see my feet. I'm back low. I want you to turn your left foot out 45 degrees. I'm going to mirror you. And then just bring your right foot forward a little bit, not far, maybe 6 or 8 inches. You want to bring it forward so that you can now bend your legs and then look down and see, is your knee right over the front part of your foot, not past the toes, not rolling in, not there, but right over your foot. If it is, great. If it's not, align it. So you're going to let the sacrum sink down and make a connection with the heel, and all your weight is on the back. This back You drop straight down, and the hips turn forward, and the thigh rolls back, right? A little bit of a counter torque action there. One moves one way, one moves the other. Let's bring the hands up. The hand corresponding to your extended leg is going to go straight out, and the lower hand is just going to open. I'm going to stand to the side so you can see this, like that. Or if I stand to the other side, like that. All the weight's on the back leg. Without changing your weight distribution, you should be able to pick up this front foot and place it down again with no weight on it. If you can do that, then your weight alignment is good. If you can't, then bring your weight back and bring the front foot back. The front hand is going to be right in front of your face. The lower hand, the fingers are going to point to the elbow of the upper arm. The thumb is going to point towards your belly. Drop your chin down, lift the back of your head up. Relax. When we say relax in Qigong, the Chinese term feng song is actually in the character as a depiction of pine trees. Maybe any tree, really. I think it's more related to pine in some ways. So the idea in Qigong is that when you relax, it's not that you become like just, you know, protoplasmic, like you know, some sort of jello on the couch. Relaxing is you relax inside the structure. That's a very Taoist stability. Perhaps in some ways, a very Chinese cultural motif, to be able to relax inside a structure. Okay, let's go to the other side. So bring your feet back, bring them back to parallel. Turn your turn your right foot out. And bring your left foot straight forward. Deep full breaths. Now I know this is hard for some of you, especially if you're new to this. But if you practice it every day, it gets easier. And as you practice it, it dilates the deep energy channels in your body. Every time you practice it, they get dilated. The qi in your body moves in a 24-hour cycle. The sun, the earth. Qi is kind of like wax, and your consciousness is like the candle flame. Your consciousness, your Shen, burns through your qi. The activities of your body moving around, like a jackrabbit, burns through your qi. So when you sleep, your qi is replenished. You wake up, you got energy. You can go for like, 16, 18 hours, whatever it is for you. And then you run out of qi because it's a daily cycle. It's like a battery. Charges, discharges, charges, discharges. When you do standing Qigong, by dilating the deep channels of your qi every day, breathing deeply, sitting down in gravity, keeping the spine straight, these dilated channels will gather more qi from the nature, from the earth, from heaven. And that qi will get used up throughout the day. But if you practice your Qigong every day, after a while that qi will start to store the residue, the excess of it. will start to store. It's like putting a few dollars a day into a savings account. It just starts to store up. And it stores up inside the deep energy channels of your body. And then when it's fuller and they start to overflow, then that energy field then connects into your organs and your tissues, your bones and your marrow. And your chi, okay, relax. Your chi pulls down into it automatically, by nature of what it is, the template for healthy functioning of your whole system, truly optimal functioning. And so by practicing Qigong every day, you start to interpenetrate that energy into your body. That energy we call in Chinese medicine the Zheng Qi, the righteous or correct Qi. It's actually the Qi aligned with heaven. It's the exact meaning of the character, that you're moving into alignment with your higher self. Your higher self is pretty into being healthy because it's beautiful, because it's effortless, because it's a kind of a flow to be in a state of health. So practiced every day, and I've been observing this for 40 years now. Daily practice of standing Qigong eliminates all disease. Sorry, it's so simple, but it is. I've really been observing it for 40 years. I've been teaching it for at least 30 years. I've observed thousands of people going through this process, and hundreds of them practicing daily Qigong who had pretty serious, illnesses, and cleared them out. So I'm just saying, folks, standing Qigong is not a particularly easy sell. It doesn't look that good on YouTube. You're just standing there. But, there you have it. Okay, now we're going to go through the 8 brocades. This is a third type of Qigong. And let me just check the time here, see where we're at. Brief intermission. It's 8 o'clock. Hi. I'm just going to keep going. We're going to go into the 8 brocades. The 8 brocades is a very useful system for working with both the 8 extraordinary channels and also the 24 acupuncture channels and the elements. So I'm going to talk through this at a somewhat technical level, which is useful perhaps for the people that have been doing this Qigong for a long time. And if you're new to this whole Qigong system, it's going to be like way too much info probably, but I want to do it for the people on this Zoom who have been studying Qigong with me for a while. And so if you're new to it, just, take what you can from it. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Deep in breath. Breathe out, relax the belly, let it sink down. You'll notice my body is moving up and then it's sitting down again. And that's what we're going to be doing with these 8 Qigong exercises. We're going to be moving through expansion and then compression, sinking, just like the cells in your body move through a cycle of expanding and then relaxing, compressing down and expanding again. Breathing in, breathe out, let the belly sink and expand. Now, pull up and in on the belly just a little bit, not too much. Bring the chi up your spine and then down the front midline of your body. Breathing in, you're going to energize right through the center of your body, just up to the top of your belly, and then sink the hands down. Then up the spine, over the head, and down the front midline of the body. So we're opening up the Chongmai with this first breath. Sink the chi to the perineum. Pull up and in on the pelvic floor muscles a little bit. Bring the chi up the spine, the Dumai. And then down the front midline of the body, the Renmai, and also out to the hands, the Daimai. tube in the middle of your body, the Qigong. Channel up your spine. Lift the spine up so that each vertebra lifts off the one below. Down the front midline, the renmai, out to your hands, describing an oval around you, from above your head all the way down beneath your feet. This is the daimai. These are names I'm giving are the names for the deep energy channels in the body. These deep energy channels are called the first ancestry. These are the formational energy channels develop early in embryological development of the body. Deep, full breaths. Noticing what fun it is to breathe and to stretch, and how pleasant it is to actually move with a slow rhythm. Now in Qigong, we don't want you to get out of breath. I don't want you to labor for breathing. So if the speed I'm going at is too slow for you, you're going to maybe have to add in some little extra breaths or speed your movement up or something like that. Don't strain for breath. And you can go slower if you want to. All right, good. Let's move to the next one. So now you're going to stand a little bit wider, more of a horse stance. Breathing in. And transferring your weight to the right, and breathe out. Breathe in. Bring your weight back to the middle. And breathe out, sink down. So we're going to be moving between a horse stance, this position, and a bow stance, this position. Now, as you breathe, I want you to imagine that you're filling your body with white, sparkling energy. And we're going to work with the 3 organs that connect to the metal chi. In the Chinese element system, each of the elements manifests at different levels. So the metal chi at the lower level manifests as crystal, metal, rock. At the intermediate level, it manifests as air. And at the higher level, it manifests as the radiance of light and the resonance of sound. So you're drawing this metal, air, radiance, resonance energy into your body, and we're going to pull this into the organs that are specific to this element. In this case, we're going to pull it into your sinus cavities. So you bring your hands towards the sinus cavities, and then the lungs and the bronchial tubes, and then down into your large intestine. Belly, large intestine, chest, the lungs, the bronchial tubes, and then the sinus cavities. I want you to imagine and feel yourself pulling that energy into the sinus cavities, the lungs, the belly. White, sparkling energy. As you extend out, the hand that's pointing, the index finger and the middle finger point outwards, touching together. It's called a sword hand in Qigong. The other hand, all the fingers touch the thumb, and it just curves over like a beak. All right, good. We're just going to do a little intermediate Qigong, not exactly part of the 8 brigades, but just to work with this energy for a minute. Breathing in white, sparkly energy. Fill your sinus cavities, fill your lungs, and then as you breathe out, sink it down into your belly. Breathing in, fill the lungs, sinus cavities. Breathing out, sink it down into the belly. You're drawing upon the sources of this type of chi energy. So drawing this white sparkling energy from the crystals and the rocks under the ground. Drawing on this white sparkling energy from the ocean of sparkling particles in the air all around you. And then drawing on this as a column of light, a radiant light descending down from above you, illuminating through your sinus cavities, your throat, your bronchial tubes, your lungs, through your diaphragm, and then down into your belly, and especially the large intestine that wraps around the belly. All right, good. Let's work with the third of the 8 brigades. Okay, reaching down, breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Now, straighten your legs, straighten your arms, and then pivot just around the central core of your body, that Qigong we talked about. Come back, and then breathing out. Reaching down, you're drawing yellow golden energy from under the ground up into your body. Pull it all the way back to the side of your ribs. This is the spleen channel. And then down to your navel. Point your thumbs into your navel. Breathing in, you're going to fill your whole body with yellow sparkling particles. Both your hands are facing into the midline. The upper hand, the palm is facing towards the sky. The lower hand, the palm is facing downwards. Breathe out and pivot around. Breathe in, pivot back. Now imagining a ball of light, yellow golden sunlight comes into your upraised hand and it pours down through the side of the body corresponding to your descending hand. This is your stomach channel. Spleen channel, yellow golden energy coming up to spleen 21, side of the ribs, down to your navel, thumbs pointing into the navel. Yellow golden energy filling your whole body. Pivot around the Qigong. Breathe out. Breathe in. Ball of sunlight comes down. The thumb traces the pathway of the stomach channel. This ball of sunlight descends the inside of the side of your body, illuminating all the organs. Golden yellow energy from under the ground. Earth energy. Draw it up into your body. Feel it spreading through all the cells of your body. Golden yellow earth energy. And now golden yellow sunlight energy. Pivot. Come back. Golden yellow sunlight energy pouring through the inside of your body as the sun traces the stomach channel pathway down. Stretch your body. Straighten the arms and legs. Pivot. And then let everything relax and sink down to the earth. Requesting that golden yellow earth energy. Draw it up the inside of the legs, across the hips, the outside of the ribs, and then down to your navel as you breathe out. And filling your whole body as you breathe in. Pivoting. And back. Ball of sunlight pouring down to the whole side of your body, illuminating the interior of your body, illuminating all the organs and tissues. Pivoting. Okay, now we're just going to do an intermediate movement to work with that element. Working with the yellow golden earth energy. Breathing in, let your body gently expand and fill up with this golden yellow energy. Breathing out, relax, sit down a little bit. Move your hands in front of your belly. Notice the field of energy between your hands and your belly. Notice the fields and the feelings of energy moving through your hands. You may or may not feel all of that. You will in time if you practice Qigong, but not necessarily the first few months. Requesting the earth energy to quickly respond to you. To fill your body up. We like the earth energy to connect into a few places. So bring the hands down. Breathe the earth energy into your perineum, into the floor of your pelvis. And just relax. Sink down as you breathe out. Completely relax. There's an earth energy center. It makes you feel very centered and connected to the earth, right at the base of your body. And now bring the hands up to the belly, the navel. The navel is an earth energy center. And as we bring this yellow golden energy into the belly, it's going to illuminate all of your digestive organs, all earth energy organs. Now bring your hands up to your chest. The earth energy of the chest sits in the very center of the chest, where the fire energy sits to the left. You just want to breathe into your chest, a great feeling of expansive, spacious peacefulness. And now the earth energy of the head. The earth energy of the head is the feeling you feel right as you fall asleep. Is your pineal gland just taking you into sleep. All right, good. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's work with the fourth of the 8 brocades. Breathing in. And breathing out. I'll do that again. Breathing in, hands are palm up. Now breathe out, I'm going to mirror you. You're going to turn your head to the right. Turn the hands down. And then breathing in, the fingers are going to trail, the elbows roll up. Keep your head to the right. And sink the chi down through your left heel. The head turns to the front. Now, both palms up. Breathe blue water energy from your heels up through your whole body. Rapidly fills your whole body. Now, turning your head to the left, sink this blue water chi down through your right heel. You're always going to be moving the blue water chi through the heel opposite the way your head is turned. And then blue water chi up through the right heel. And then blue water chi down through the right heel. We're working with the water chi. Requesting blue water energy. Filling your body with this blue water energy. Deep under the ground, there are springs of water. You're drawing the chi from the springs and the sources of water under the ground. It rapidly fills your whole body. Drawing it through your heels, bringing it up, and then let it sink down, let it flow down through your right heel as you turn your head to the left. Keeping your head to the left, draw the blue water energy up through that right heel, and then down through the right heel again. So you're working with the blue water energy, filling your kidneys, and then drawing the blue water energy up to the back of your head. You want to be working with the spine and the channels either side of the spine. Filling them with blue water energy. And then also letting it drain downwards again. Deep, full breaths. Receiving the healing chi of water to move through your body, through all your organs. All right, good. Let's do an intermediate Qigong to keep connecting with the water chi. First, just stand in Wuji. That's this position. Imagine and feel your body filling up with beautiful blue water. Now, I'm going to stand to the side so you can see how I do this. Breathing in, you're going to draw your elbows back and just bring your weight forward a little bit. Just a little bit. And then breathing out, you're going to bring your weight back and the hands are going to come forward. So breathing in, we're going to draw the water chi into the kidneys. And the back is going to arch a little bit. And then breathing out, the water chi is going to flow forward into the front of the belly and then through the hands. Immerse your mind and fill your body with this water chi. Requesting the healing forces of water to quickly respond to you. Softening anything that is hard inside your body, cooling anything that is too hot. dissolving anything that needs dissolving, cleansing, purifying, washing away any toxins. Stand back in Wuji. Draw upon the sources of water under the ground. Request the healing energy, blue water filling your body. And then attune your mind. Bring your hands so that they're flat right in front of you. Attune your mind to the water of lakes and oceans. Imagine yourself standing as if you're just standing in a beautiful blue mountain lake with your hands just resting on the surface. Good. And then lastly, tune your mind to the blue color of space. A beautiful blue color right at dawn, right at sunset. Deep blue, and let yourself absorb that peaceful quality. All right, good. Let's work with the fifth of the 8 brigades. I'm just going to have a little time check here. No, we're doing okay. All right, so go brain go. We're going to work with the heart and the small intestine, triple burner pericardium. We're going to work with the energies of fire. Okay. Take some deep breaths. Now we're going to go again from the horse stance to the bow stance. Breathing in. And then breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Transfer your weight. And of course, you're moving your feet. When you're in the horse stance, the feet are parallel. And now feet are going to slide out to the sides so that you can come into the bow stance. So as you breathe in, you're going to breathe in a pink energy. It's going to fill your heart, fill the cheeks of your face. And as you breathe out, a red energy. Pink energy, feelings of compassion and love, lift your spine up and then sit down, drop your chi into your belly, extend out horizontally, red energy. Vertical lifting, pink energy, compassion and love. Horizontal extension, enthusiasm, vitality, red energy. Pink energy, fill your chest, fill the cheekbones of the face, and then red energy goes from your belly, enthusiasm, out through your hands. Now we're opening up the heart and the small intestine energy channels which run from your little finger to your armpit, and your little finger to your shoulder blade, and then up to the cheekbones, the ear. So you roll the hand in, compress and squeeze that small intestine channel, roll the hand out, stretch open the small intestine channel, roll the hand in, heart channel, compressing a little bit, roll the hand out, heart channel dilating. And at the same time as we work with those two channels, we work with pericardium and triple burner channels. So if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Just keep breathing pink energy and love and compassion, red energy, vitality, enthusiasm. Pink as you breathe in, red as you breathe out. If you know the channels, as you extend out, then you're going to stretch through the triple burner channel. As you roll in, you're going to compress into the pericardium channel. Feeling compassion for yourself. Be very compassionate with yourself right now. A lot of shit going down. And it's going to be fine. All right, great. Now let's just attune ourselves a little bit to the fire energies of the body. You're going to form a triangle between your fingers, place them over the front of your genital region, not touching the body, just a little bit away. Pull up and in on your genital muscles a little bit, just pulse them. Tune into red energy, the sexual fire energy. Now bring the hands up so the thumbs are at the level of the navel. When you breathe in, pull in on your lower belly muscles. When you breathe out, relax them. So you're going to pump your lower belly a little bit. Feel the warmth in your lower belly. This is the warmth of your Qi factory, your lower dantian. This is where your Qi is warmed up and programmed for vitality. Now bring the hands to the level of your solar plexus, so the fingers are at the level of your navel. Thumb is at the solar plexus level. Now breathe in, pull in on your upper and lower stomach muscles a little bit. Breathe out, relax your belly, relax the muscles. Now you're going to feel that digestive fire. And also expand the sides of your rib cage. Orange color coming off the sides of your rib cage. This is your spleen yang, stomach fire, digestive fire. This is the force that enables you to consume your experiences, burn through them, extract from them what is good for you, discard what is not useful. This is how you digest your food and your life. Bring the hands just in front of the chest. Relax your body, relax your breathing. Just breathe very gently. Feel the pulse of the blood in your fingertips. See if you can feel the pulse of your heart extending out to touch the walls of the room that you're in. See if you can feel your heart pulse extending out to any trees or plants around the building that you're in. Now bring the hands up to the level of the throat. I want you to imagine a blue flame with a pink background. Or you could imagine a pink flame with a blue background. Right in your throat. This is the fire of your creative self-expression. However that shows up for you, whatever is your thing, your talent, your passion, your love or your joy to express in the world. Now bring the hands up so that the triangle is over your forehead. Look through your hands. Stand up straight. Shut your eyes, but roll your eyeballs upwards and just tune into light. The light behind your seeing, the light behind your perceiving, and behind your thinking. When you tune into that light, it's very peaceful. Now bring the hands up directly above your head. Keep your thumbs touching. Your thumbs are right over the top of your head. Separate your fingers a little bit. Request a contact with your soul, the violet flame, your higher self nature. And let that contact come down till your thumbs touch the very top of your head. Requesting the violet flame of your soul to come down through your body into your heart, where there's a home for that soul, that violet flame, right in your heart. Good, good. Now let the chi just come down into your belly. You can keep that violet flame in your heart, but let the chi flow down, ground you. Okay, let's work with the fifth element, which is the green force. The Chinese character for this is a tree. The incorrect translation of that is wood, because it's not the character for wood, it's the character for a tree. So we're going to work with the green force. Okay, breathing in and breathing out. Again, we're going to go between the horse stance, where your feet are facing forward, and the bow stance when you're moving to the side. So reaching down, the roots of a tree, and then the trunk comes right up your spine. The limbs go under your shoulder blades as you go to the side. Branches down your arm, the twigs through your fingers. Touch the thumb to the index finger. The leaves of the canopy of a tree, turn the hands over, touch the ring fingers with the thumbs. And then the leaves, the flowers, the seeds coming down. Now again, the root, breathing in. Different stages of the tree, all the way up and out. Twigs, and now breathing in again. Canopy of the leaves, millions of green leaves surrounding you. Turn the hands over, and then the flowers, and then the seeds coming down. And again, the root, the trunk, the limbs, the branches, the twigs, the leaves, breathing in. The fruits, touching thumb to ring finger, the seeds. Bring the tree into you. Request the green force to quickly respond to you. Touch thumbs to index fingers, and then thumbs to ring fingers. Draw the green force into you. With each movement and each breath, feel your body and all your tissues filling up with the green force. All right, good. Let's go into Wuji. And let's just connect to that green force. Request the green force from under the ground to flow up through you like vines, like tendrils, coming up through your body. Feel your body filling. Now, connect to the trees, connect to the forests with your mind. Without effort, just request the healing force from all the trees and the forests. There's so many in this area. Request that healing force to come into you, to move right through your body, to move wherever in your body or your energy field or your mind needs that healing force of the green energy, the green power. What Hildegard von Bingen called the green power of Christ. What the poet Dylan Thomas called the green fuse, or rather the force that through the green fuse drives the flower. Okay, so I think we're out of time, but I'm just not done. Sorry, people. So we've got just, we'll keep it pretty quick, but we're just going to do one thing to close by accessing the last 4 of the 8 extraordinary channels, and then we'll be good. And then we'll do a little check-in if you want to, and we can close up. So this last Qigong is going to go in a number of phases, 3 phases. First phase is just like this. It's like a big wheel. You're going to make a big wheel like this. Now, the first 3 times we do it, we're going to bend forward like this. Like a giant wheel. And now we're going to do it without bending forward. Keep your spine straight, just sit down. Breathing in, the energy comes above your head, and then when you're breathing out, you're going to bring it down through your feet, and the hands are going to push it down through the feet. You're going to keep your spine straight. What we're doing here is we're opening up the yin chao, the yang chao, the yin way, and the yang way. Well, for some of you, that's going to be like, what? No, that's okay. Just do the Qigong. Now, what you're connecting to here is moving a wheel of energy through your body that's bigger than your physical body, much bigger. Going down 18 feet under the ground, into the earth, deep into the earth. Going 18 feet at least above your head, up into the sky. Now maybe going further down under the ground, spreading out like roots of a big tree, and then coming up, extending out way above your head and out also like the canopy of a vast tree. Imagining and feeling yourself like a giant, just fully expanded. Your feet extending as roots deep into the earth. Your head and above your head, reaching way above the clouds, expanding into the sky. All right, good. And now stand wide. Now we're going to bring the hands up in like a triangle formation. Breathing in, the hands come up and in. And breathing out, they go down and out. Up and in. The yin chao. And down and out, the yang way. And literally that's what those channels are. The yin chao is all the forces that move upwards and inwards in your energy field. And the yang way is all those forces that actually move downwards and outwards. So coming up and in is like moonlight, is a beautiful, feminine, and spiritual energy. And going down and out is kind of like spreading a net around you or spreading a cloak around you. It spreads down and out and it contacts the surface of the earth and just establishes space around you, in front of you, to either side of you. Moonlight up and in, yin chao, and then this energy field surrounding you, protecting you, discharging anything from your wei qi, your defensive qi that needs to leave. That's your yang wei. Good. Now we're going to make the opposite movement, which is an inverted triangle. Breathing in, your hands are going to come up and out and up to the sky. And then breathing out, your hands are going to go down and in and sink a taproot deep into the earth. Breathing in. up and out towards gold and blue, the expansion of the sky and the sun. That's the yang qiao. Breathing out, down and in, like a taproot into the earth, discharging, releasing, dissolving the ego and the mind. Gold and blue and light, and then just like humility, simple, humble, detoxing, releasing down into the earth. Yang qiao as you breathe in, and then the yin wei as you breathe out. Both are taking your energy system past your auric field. All right, good. We're just going to close up now. We're going to do pulling down the heavens and shaking a little bit. Let's first start off by just shaking. This is just a way to kind of like neutralize, in a way, a lot of the energies that you've been moving around and kind of discharge any excess. So just shake a bit. People will often shake at the beginning of a Qigong routine, but sometimes when you're doing really powerful Qigongs like the 8 brigades and this kind of thing, it's a good idea. You can do a little shaking at the end just to kind of neutralize it. Now we're going to do pulling down the heavens. Not for too long, just a few times. And the idea here is you're going to ground yourself. Just bring the energy down and feel grounded, feel solid, feel down in the feet. Keep your eyes open. Bring yourself down into your belly. Down into your belly. Bring your chi down, grounded, present, solid. Lastly, you're going to come up on your toes and you're going to bring your hand back like this. So you come up on your toes and bring your hands back. Breathing in. And then drop your neck forward. Drop your head forward a little bit. And then drop down. Breathe in, drop the head forward, drop down. And as you drop down onto your heels, the hands will shoot forward. As you do this, you're going to get a shock wave go through your body. Keep your chin tucked in. It's quite important. And that shock wave will just travel into your body and pull the chi into your bones. That's it. All right, cool. I'm just going to have a quick check-in with those of you that are left with me, and then we'll close up. So let me unmute the heck out of everybody. How do I do that? Yeah, unmute, unmute. Can't seem to figure out how to do it for the whole group at the same time. I'm not very fast at learning new technologies, so sorry about that. Unmute. Some of you I can't unmute. Maybe unmute yourselves or something. Some of you will not be unmuted. Anyway, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yay! How are you all doing?
Great.
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you, Adam.
You're very welcome. Something that just occurred to me. Let me see who's still on this call. How many did I lose? Most. 1, 2, 3. I lost at least half the class, but that's okay. I forgot to mention, it just jumped into my mind when we were doing the Earth Qigong for the pineal gland. When they've tested COVID-19 patients in the hospital, they've all had low melatonin levels. Now, old people often have low melatonin levels anyway, but nonetheless, it's interesting. And melatonin does seem to exert a profound immune regulating effect. Plus everyone's freaking out. Melatonin can be kind of useful to kind of calm things down. So that's just another thing to think about. Get a little bit of melatonin in the system. Anybody have any comments or questions or anything?
This is Aelita. Oh, go
Hi.
ahead.
Go ahead. What'd you say, Alita? There you go.
So I was saying is like when you said about the melatonin, and is it the fear factor now that is, you know, so much overwhelmed with the over media, and so how does that affect?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, melatonin is an interesting study. It's definitely reduced by looking at screens, you know, TV and computer and Zoom and all that kind of stuff. It's reduced by the light that we're exposed to from our media. And it's in fact, it's just simply reduced by the amount of artificial light that we experience compared to what our evolutionary systems have been actually adapted to, which is, you know, when the sun went down, that was it. Your body started producing melatonin. So it's very chronically low in a lot of people. And it's very associated with higher cancer rates and a lower functioning immune system and more stress and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
How can we help, let's say now knowing the kids, those who have kids, the average daily use of I mean, how can we offset that, or what can be done?
I don't know. I mean, when I was raising children, we didn't let them have TV or computers, and cell phones were not quite happening yet. We limited their TV time to an hour or two a week. It wasn't TV, it was something on, you know, like a video, a little, you know, kids movie video or something. So that's just what we did. I actually am sort of in support of parents being kind of hardcore about it. But, you know, you got teenagers, then you have to back off from the hardcore. You know, I'm not sure what to tell you. They're very robust. Teenagers are robust. They'll be okay.
What exercise or what is a meditate? I mean, what to do to increase
melatonin?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know all the factors that increase melatonin. Certainly sleeping in a dark room, very dark, is very beneficial for increasing melatonin production. CBD increases melatonin, I believe. You'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it does. I think that's part of why CBD does the magic that it does. I think it's a strong activator of melatonin. There's other things too, but I'm not that up on melatonin research actually. So I don't know.
Can I share?
I'll find out for you. I'll look it up. Go ahead.
So in Qigong song, was stressed very strongly to do a sunning meditation 3 times a day, where you look at the sun and close your eyes and let the sun come directly into your closed eyelids for 3 minutes, 3 times a day, which increases your serotonin, which then makes melatonin.
How very interesting. Thanks, Kelly. That's cool. I like that because it's almost like using the opposite consciously to produce the effect. Yeah. Because melatonin is produced in the body by darkness. But you know, that idea of working consciously with the sun and that having actually an effect on melatonin is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that. I'll research melatonin a little bit. I need to find out more about it.
Thank you. That will be helpful. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right, gang.
Can I just ask about melatonin supplements?
Yeah.
I've been reluctant to take them because I've heard that if you take the supplements, that you decrease your body's ability to make it on its own. So,
yeah, I want to comment on that. You know, what I've observed over the years, because I've played around with melatonin a little bit and observed it in patients, some people do better with a really low dose of melatonin, like 1 milligram. And then once they get up to like 5 milligrams, it can actually, for some people, it does the opposite. It agitates them and even occasionally gives them headaches. However, modern practitioners in the last 10 years have been using like 50 milligrams of melatonin and feeling that they get good results with it. So that's just like what I observed for my own body and what I observed in a few patients I heard from other practitioners. And that's why I've always tended to suggest lower doses of melatonin. I think that if you're living like I live, which is not enough sleep probably, and a lot of computer time, and a lot of artificial light, supplementing with melatonin might not be a bad idea. As far as the idea of supplementing with melatonin, suppressing your body's ability to produce melatonin, I will research that for you, Kelly. It's probably true, but I suspect that in the short term, for a situation like now, when people are stressed and we're wanting to boost their immune response, it's not a bad idea. That's my thought about that. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's an interesting thing, the pineal gland, because the pineal gland is an energy. When you work with it in Qigong, as I do, you feel like it's an energy. It's that space right before you fall asleep. It's completely silent and still and calm. And that's so lacking in our culture that, and is actually, you know, we know that physiologically melatonin levels are so much lower than they would be if we were all living a native lifestyle. So I think there's a value to supplementing often.
And is it okay to use it in conjunction with CBD?
Probably. I mean, that would be an experimentation thing. And also I need to kind of look at any research on it, but melatonin is incredibly safe. It's like, you know, I did notice that there are certain people that it seems to agitate in higher doses, but actually from what I've seen, and I'll research this more, but from what I know about melatonin, it's very safe. Yeah. And CBD is very safe. So I expect the two together might be fine, you know. I wouldn't do vast doses of either though.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, gang?
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's always a pleasure teaching you guys.
Keep us posted.
Say again?
Keep us posted.
Yeah, I'll keep doing, I just had a request to switch the Qigong to Monday. So I'm going to think about that and I'll let you guys know this weekend. Does anybody have an opinion or a thought about that?
I think most people have a lot of time nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, Monday was my traditional Qigong class time. So I may switch back to Mondays and I'll send out an email about it over the weekend. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to turn this thing off. End meeting. Bye. Air hugs, air hugs.
Bye, thank you. Thank you.
End meeting.